Do you feel like you don't have all the information, but you still have to make it work? Do you feel like there aren't even enough good leaders out there, so you have no choice but to lead yourself? Do people ever tell you that you don't listen? Who are you listening to? Let's get into it. Hello everyone, Wallace Russell from CoachWallaceRussell.com. What I mean by listening to for this segment is being advised or told what to do, but taking heed, obeying. When I was young, I had to listen to my parents, my teachers, the pastors, the ladies in the church, and basically any adult, whether they were put in charge of me or not. It didn't matter if they were good people. It didn't matter if they knew what they were talking about. It didn't matter if they were wrong. What I saw was my father didn't listen to my mother didn't listen to my father, neither of them listened to my grandparents, but I had to listen to and obey every adult. Now, I was a child, and the truth is I didn't know a lot. I didn't have enough tools in my toolbox to know how to effectively use the ones I even had. I wanted to be able to do on my own what I saw older people do. I basically wanted to be an adult. So while I didn't always agree with what I heard and I saw, I did pay attention. I just didn't listen. When I came of age, I figured I knew enough. So I stopped listening so much to other people, even though I really didn't know enough. But I felt like I did. My sister used to tell me this story. She says, when I was 16, I felt I know enough and you couldn't tell me anything. And then when I turned 18, I realized when I was 16, I didn't know anything. But now that I'm 18, I know and you can't tell me anything. And then when I was 21, I realized I didn't know anything when I was 18, but I felt like I knew enough. But now that I'm 21, I do know enough, and so on and so on. We always think we know enough. The truth is, as we navigate through life, we need advisors to fill in the details that have eluded us, to look into our blind spots and show us what we are missing, to inspire us to observe and possibly live a life we never considered, to show us things about the world that matter that we're not paying enough attention to bounce our own theories and ideas off of, so that we may improve and enhance them. But who can we trust to do that? This is hard because as we grow older and more competent and as we think more wise, we feel like we know enough. So we listen and we trust less. Who do I listen to? Well, maybe it's because of how I was raised, but I listen to my elders, older people who have lived a long life and have observed a lot of things. What's really fun though, is they really want people to listen. They will take the time if you were to ask. Now, I'm not saying everything that drops out of their mouth is wisdom, but if you sit long enough, you're guaranteed to walk away with something. So people older than me, not by a little, but people who have lived, people who are maybe one generation older than me, I try to see what wisdom they have, and I enjoy their company and their conversations, and they have great stories. I also have a mastermind group. These are my peers. And in this safe space, we all try to lift each other up. So if one person has a great idea, we all will jump on it. And it's competitive in a way, but not negative, in that when I see a friend in my mastermind group rise up and do more, I realize I could be doing more too. So I rise up because of the influence of the people in my peer group and how we all want us, each other, and ourselves to be more. I also listen to my mentors, and I have a few. These are older people, at least older than me, that I've connected to that Hopefully they've connected with me and they have an interest in my success and my growth. They check for it. They can say things that are very raw because of the nature of the relationship, because I listen to them and I want the knowledge that they have. But they also inspire me to keep growing, keep learning, keep pushing, and to become more. Now, these are handpicked people. I went to them to find them and asked them to be my mentor in whatever capacity, and they have agreed to that. Who else do I listen to? Well, I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of speakers and podcasts. Now, with these people, I don't have as personal a connection, and I have no real way to vet the sources. I'm not saying I take them with a grain of salt, but I verify. If they have good information or something that seems new and interesting, I will look at other sources and compare to see if I should be confident in that direction. But I'm always open to new ideas, new methods, new resources I did not consider. There are challenges with listening to people, especially taking their advice to heart. The first one is obvious, it's trust. If you have a personal connection with them, are they coming from a giving or loving place? You have to look for that. There's also validity of the information. Their truth versus the truth. And I'm not saying that their truth is necessarily wrong, but you have to understand the person that is bringing it to you and who they are and what they're about. I don't dismiss any of it because I want wisdom to be poured into me. But I do look at the validity of the information, and it doesn't always have to make sense to me. So the third part is conflicting with your viewpoint. Look, the way you walk through life, the way you move through life is based on what you've learned, what you experience, and what you think that means. And you have a viewpoint and it's gotten you this far. New information, new knowledge, new wisdom may not jive with what you believe to be your truth. In fact, it has been your truth because it's worked for you. You have to be willing to try new information or try a new viewpoint like you try on a hat. When you come into a store, a hat store, you have your hat on and you want to try out some new hats. Now, you know when you leave, you're still going to have that hat. So you have to practice taking that hat off temporarily, trying a new hat on, and seeing based on how this hat works, can you do something new? So don't let a conflict with how you see the world stop you from receiving what could be valuable and useful information. Who might you listen to? Well, I believe in the take an old person to lunch thing. I think older people, especially retired people, like to stay relevant, and they really want to share their knowledge and their wisdom with you, and they like a good meal. So take an old person to lunch and see whether it's your grandparents, whether it's someone in your community. Say, hey, I'd like to take you to lunch and let you spread some of your wisdom on me. Would you be open to that? You'd be surprised how many people would say yes. Again, ask someone sort of what you might think a pillar in your community to be your mentor. Someone who has a lot of attributes that you want to internalize for yourself. Now, they're not hired by you, so they're going to give it to you how they want to give it to you, and you're going to have to receive it the best way you can, because they're coming from a different place. They don't work for you. They are sharing something with you. Even if you buy them the meal, they don't owe you this, and they don't owe you to make it clear, but they have great wisdom and success. You saw that. That's why you asked them to be your mentor. Another thing I do, or you might be able to do, is get good book recommendations from people you respect. I am members of multiple mastermind groups, so we have a thing online where we can all look and see what each of us is reading. There's no mandate to read what everyone else is reading, but when someone comes up with a great book, we're like, ooh, I want to read that too. And then we add that to our own book list. Right now, I'm up to probably about 36 books a year. But that doesn't mean you have to just do books. You can do podcasts. You can do YouTube videos that are just enlightening. And so if you're a part of a community where you share that, where something helped you and you share that with the group, you can all rise together. I'm also a great proponent for personal development. And it doesn't have to be formal, but it can be. Counseling, coursework, inspirational speakers. All of these sources have knowledge that may not have occurred to you or don't show up in your regular life. And you should get that. Because imagine who you might be if you were 10 times more wiser, if you had 7 more tools in your toolbox, and all of a sudden you were able to do things that you couldn't do before. Well, you're going to have to learn that from someone else, from some other source. So, all that being said, who do you listen to? And who might you start listening to? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please leave any comments or suggestions in the box below. There's also a link there to set up a free consultation if you'd like to do that. As always, your time, your energy, your viewership is greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next time.